What's up, party people, to another episode of Who Asked You Podcast. I'm your host, Studio 2 Groovy, and today we have a multitude of amazing guests. Today we have Kenshawn in the building, Blue Regard in the building, Jamise,
Jamise.
Jamise, I was close, and Cosmic Chris in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, Before we get started on tonight's topic, please, from Kenshawn on down, please introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
All right. First of all, good evening to everyone. I feel very fortunate to be here. My name is Ken Sean. Um, that is also my Instagram handle. I am actually
Please introduce
just
yourself
getting
and
into astrology in terms of the Dendera and getting into solar biology. So, my last 3 months research has just been strictly solar biology, and and I had a couple. I have a couple of epiphanies about that, but that is just a little bit about me tonight. I live in the Bahamas. I love everything, and I just want to learn every day and grow, and that's why I'm here.
alrighty, Blue.
My name is Blue. Peace to everybody. I'm a, I'd say that I'm an artist. That is sum up what I am. But I do dabble in a lot of different aspects of art. Primarily, I'd say I'm a musical and astrological artist. But other than that, I haven't, uh, I haven't reached completion of those other aspects to unveil them to the world yet. So we can keep it at that.
Alrighty, goddess with the horns. The goddess with the horns.
Lilith. I'm Jamise. I not really much to say, but I'm a baby in astrology. I do study astrology. I studied a lot of everything, the occult, metaphysics in general. I dibble and dabble here and there and everything, but as of right now, my main focus has been a lot in astrology. So that's kind of why I guess I'm here, is to kind of put in my little baby 2 cents, of my current understanding and knowledge and regarding in the times that we're currently dealing in today. I am on a path of ascension. So as I said, I do a little bit here, I do a little bit there, but that's just pretty much what it is. I'm a student, a lifelong student, of course. All things occult. I'm there. I'm in that.
Yeah. One who knows all knows nothing at all, right?
There you go.
Alrighty, Cosmic. Tell the people who you are.
I'm Crystal. Peace, love, light, and positive vibrations to everybody.
Hey.
It's such a good time to be alive in this moment. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I don't know how to read my birth chart.
Hey, we got two masters of that sitting right above you.
I'm a Leo. I'm 31. I'm a mom of 7. So if y'all hear something in the background, then my kid. I'm from Baltimore, and I'm just so excited. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. The copper color people.
I know, right? It's a whole lot of melanin action going on in here.
A lot of melanin magic going on around here.
Hey. That's the energy I like. Yeah. Let's turn it up. So things are in alignment on this panel and also in the sky. I'm going to play a short video of the Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction that happened today, and then we're going to get into some cosmic knowledge. This was done on somebody's Pycon camera. It's amazing that you can actually see the rings.
Right.
That's what's tripping me out.
And notice how Jupiter looks like a moon.
Yeah. And you can see the ebb and flow of the energy too. I wanted to add that. So I just brought up this little informational. They're trying to call it a Christmas. Hold on one second. Here I'll share my screen real quick. They're calling it the Christmas star. I don't really want to call it that. Says, what is a conjunction? Generally speaking, a conjunction is when two objects appear close to each other in the sky. A conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which only happens about once every 20 years, is called a great conjunction. In the technical language of astronomers, there are a number of ways to define a conjunction. They're talking about minimum separation and stuff. When I first heard conjunction, though, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was thinking like they were like practically touching, not like the planets are touching, but from our viewpoint that they're actually like on top of each other. I didn't realize that it was like still a short distance. What'd you say?
You thought more like an eclipse kind of position?
Yeah, I thought it was like that. One being a million kings and queens, COVID the front to kill us and maintain their control. But, I mean, it's already written in the stars and books and all that that's not going to happen. So let's clear something up right now. Is this the start of the Aquarian age or not? I'm gonna let y'all take over because I've been hearing that it's not. I heard that the Aquarian age is supposed to start in like 2030 and around that time. But everybody's been saying that this starts the age of Aquarius. But I still am in the belief that we're on the cusp of the Aquarian age. So, would anybody like to speak on that confusion?
I'll speak. I guess I'll lead.
Yeah, first.
Because I've been speaking on it all day. I've been speaking on it for a hot minute, actually. But no. The prediction that we're going into the age of Aquarius is based off of a time. It's based off of a tropical chart. We have three charts. We have your tropical, your sidereal, and then your galactic. Okay, and there's like literally like rings within inside of rings, right? Your tropical is a fixed chart. It's a fixed timeline where it only monitors the movement of the sun and the moon through the ecliptic, which is your 4 seasons. The tropical timeline or tropical chart was implemented. It's only 2,000 years old. And it was implemented for the sole purpose of monitoring the seasons. It's a fixed. And as we know, we can see ourselves. The seasons are definitely changing. When they say it's winter, when they say it's fall, it really feels like winter. Or when they say that it's winter, it may really feel like spring. We can see, we're seeing that these seasons are changing. So with the tropical timeline, it does not allow, because it's fixed, it is not designed for any precession or movement or evolution. It keeps you boxed, it keeps you fixed. It has nothing to do with the constellations at all. It has nothing to do with the movement of Venus, of Saturn, of Mars, of Jupiter. It has nothing to do with that. Your sidereal and your galactic, which are your two outer rings outside of the tropical, deals with the movement of your planets. And then of course your galactic is, your further out ring, but your sidereal is the most accurate today.
And I've heard that from someone else that is more accurate. But why is it that is like an emerging type of astrological chart when we've been on the
Tropical.
What word am I looking for?
The tropical.
Yeah, that chart. Yeah,
it's not really emerging. Again, the tropical is only 2,000 years old, so it's fairly new. And it deals with the ages. It deals with how time was calculated. It all goes back to each civilization had their own calendar. It all tracks back to these calendars. The Egyptians had their own calendar, the Hebrews, Sumerians, Mayans, all of them had their own calendars. Okay, then we have the Julian, and then we have the Gregorian, which is under Roman rule. Those are the calendars in which we're operating under now. Your times, how they calculate times, it only goes either forward 2,000 years, which is going to be this is when they changed over from BCE to when they changed over from CE, BCE to AD and BC. This is when the timeline split. So your BCE and CE places you behind. It all starts up at 1. There's never a 0. All these timelines at 1, either 1 AD or 1 ACE or 1 CE. Your CE BCE starts at 1 and it goes back 2,000. Your AD and BC starts at 1 and it goes forward 2,000. So there's been a split it's been a split in time and how they calculate time. So with each civilization, with each rulership, or with each pantheon, they have their own calendars. And again, these calendars are either going back to 2000. 2000 is as far as it goes. 2000 is like the markers, either back 2000 or forward 2000. So
which calendar would be most accurate?
Right.
Because it's not the one we use.
So sidereal deals with real time. Real time, as you can literally pull up an app or a telescope, and with the help of those, you can go and see where the actual placements of these stars are. That is sidereal. Tropical is again, it's dealing with the fixed seasons, but because the seasons have been changing as all things are meant to evolve, the tropical chart is off roughly now about 25 to 26 degrees, and there are only 30 degrees within each zodiac. So for instance, if you were born, say like December 8th, the tropical will say you are Sagittarius. That's where it's going to place you. But in real time, according to sidereal, you're really a Scorpio. So it's placing you an entire sign off. And also with the tropical, they do not acknowledge because they don't deal with constellations. They don't acknowledge the other constellations like Ophiuchus, which the foot of Ophiuchus lies on the ecliptic. We can see now, if you were to go back to like say December 8th, you would see that the sun was in Ophiuchus. But if you go to the tropical is going to say the sun was in Sagittarius. So it doesn't acknowledge the real time. It doesn't acknowledge real time. It doesn't acknowledge the actual constellations. We have Ophiuchus that it doesn't acknowledge, and now we have Cetus. Cetus is another constellation that has now come into our view that the sun is making a course through, that they don't acknowledge that either. So now if you stick to the tropical, now you're going to be behind 2 signs. So it's becoming, it's further and further and further off course.
And I understand that, but my whole life I have had the attributes of the Scorpio. Like my whole entire life. Everything about Scorpio literally defines me. And it's not like it's like, oh, I read what Scorpio is, so this is the behavior I display. It's like, no, I display behavior and then I read about Scorpios and it's like, damn it, that's me. So how I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying how can that be accurate about me but inaccurate as a whole system? That's the thing that's like, because you're not the only person I've heard. You're the first person who's gotten deep into it, but you're not the first person I've heard say that sidereal is more accurate than what we're used to.
Right. Well, if you break it down like this, so if we break it down into like our 3 selves, right? We have our higher self, we have our inner self, and then we have what we call our straw man or our avatar. So
Right.
your tropical is it deals with your outer influence, your outside influences, your straw man, and most everyone operates out of their straw man. So your straw man, your avatar resonates more with that tropical, but your soul, your inner self, is going to resonate more with the sidereal because that deals with your inner you. So you resonate with that because because most people operate through their avatar. They operate through their straw man. Like you are not you are not whatever your birth certificate says. That is your straw.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. Anybody would like to add to her?
I do. Yeah.
Her knowledge?
Oh yeah. I actually want to ask a question because I've also heard the same things about Saru. I just never delved as far into it. So basically, what Saru sounds like is like the traveler's version of an almanac, so to say. Like it's constantly changing. You're constantly updating it depending on where you are in the galaxy, pretty much updating it as needed. Correct.
Right. It's designed for evolution. It's designed for, I mean, because we are here to evolve, right? That is the path of ascension, alchemy, right? You start from the root and then you ascend upwards. That is evolution. So yeah, that is the sidereal. It is always changing. Nothing stays the same. For instance, right now, I came in here Sagittarius, but if I go by my progressions right now I'm a Capricorn. By the time I leave here, I'm not going to be the same because that's evolution.
So are you saying that there's no such thing as a staple sign assigned to a person? Because to my knowledge, a natal chart breaks down where your soul traveled and what planets' energies you went through. That's to my understanding. So if you're saying that since you're constantly moving through different astrological signs, like how does that means throw the whole natal chart away. Like that's what
not necessarily.
Oh, go ahead.
Because maybe the like she was saying, it's probably meant for specific stages. And the same way people can pull the life experiences out of a natal chart.
What I'm saying is, though, bro, what I'm saying is a natal chart gives you a standard blueprint of what is going to happen in your life, the lessons you're supposed to learn, the certain attributes. Now, if I can understand the concept of, okay, that's meant for your avatar, I get that. I can download and digest that easily. But what I'm saying is, then does a natal chart actually matter?
How do I have a friend. This is my best friend. She's an astrologer. She's my teacher, actually. How do she wants to join in. How does she join in?
You can forward her the link. Is Trina your friend?
No, that's not her. Her name is
Okay.
Felicia.
Okay, yeah. The link that I sent you, or she can come in the comments and I'll put the link down and then I'll take myself off because it can only be 6 people on the screen. But before I take myself off, so she can come up here, Trina, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and to the panel, please? No? Okay. All right. Yeah, bring her on up. Oh,
So I guess I learned quite a bit just now actually. When I started off, I started off. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So when I started off in astrology. Um, and I realized that every time I find some esoteric knowledge, be it numerology, be it astronomy, I always find that you know secret geometry, Egyptian patterns, and then I find a lot of compromising positions that um, our ancestors were put in. So after I was matured into the astrology, I actually did a lot of different charts. I did the sidereal, and what I realized is in the esoteric knowledge that I researched, I either found it that it was a religion or another race or another group of people trying to take it and regurgitate it, or I found that esoteric means that it's something hidden away from you. Exoteric means public knowledge. So, why is that important? That led me, astrology led me, and astrology charts led me to solar biology. Um, Now, you may say, what is solar biology? Well, of course, when you when you leave this avatar, your spirit goes back to the sun. So that's your soul, your solar. So, what is biology? That is the bio field around you, pertaining to how much melanin you have. And so now we're getting into how does the sun affect me when we talk about sunbathing or moon gazing. We're talking about DNA, RNA. Um, anyone can sunbathe, anyone can moon gaze, but what is your limit? And then, so if you're unlocking, for instance, in meditation or in
Hmm.
light work, if you're unlocking DNA due to you enjoying uh, something that is made out of stardust, made out of carbon and atom and electron, proton elements, and I find that I am made out of that, then that is my natal chart, meaning solar biology. So the biology, all it is you know to be able to manifest from electrons to protons to atoms, and then you lower your frequency when you're still this spiritual being. You lower your frequency to enter this body, and so you now attain this avatar. And so now, um, in order for you to download information to this spirit in this body, you need sun ray from the sun, basically. And so, why is that important when it deals with your chart? you have to face the fact that you talk about Venus. What does another race look at as Venus? Venus is a planet, but there's also a seasonal representation that you meant that they don't pay attention to, that they don't take account for. So when we talk about Venus, Venus is actually an ancestor. It is a planet and its placement. But like uh, James said, they don't take acknowledgement to the changes and the evolving. And this is how time gets left out, degrees are looped off, and this is why you know we're getting the outer responses or the outer results of a natal chart from an astrology as opposed to your inner characteristics or how can you balance nature, nurture, yin yang, and how can you learn to balance the characteristics that you have? Because you may say, well, there's a bad Leo or there's a bad Scorpio. Don't date a Libra because this or that. Well, the whole thing about it is Goddess Ma'at is balance. So when you achieve uh, your greatness, whatever your characteristics is, and you use your blueprint and you follow your blueprint, you have an opportunity to serve the universe. And when you serve the universe and you serve your purpose in that, um, that is when you begin to evolve. I think in the spirituality that you're looking for in this life. And so um, I mentioned it earlier about the Dendera, and so I can give you guys a little view of it. This is how the Dendera chart looks, and
Do you
so
want me to you know you're on your laptop, right?
yes,
You you can share your screen if
uh,
you want
sure. All right then.
if you want to pull that up. You don't have to, but I'm just saying you're able to share your screen.
Okay, great. So I'm just gonna pull up.
And while he's pulling that up, y'all make sure y'all like, share this video, and if you have not, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell because every time we come on here, you're gonna learn something that you never knew. Uh, I love bringing in intelligent minds and just all this melanin magic in the building. Like it's just really dope. And while he's bringing that up, Felicia, do you mind if you introduce yourself to the panel and the audience, please?
Absolutely. Give me one moment. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Hey, hey.
I am Felicia. I have been into astrology I've been into it all my life, but very heavy for at least the past 5 years. And I used to dive very deep into tropical. Um, I got more serious about the sidereal chart, especially at the point of my Saturn's return, because I was more so concerned about my soul, more so than I was concerned about, um, I guess I'll say, the carnal world, because I was already kind of living that when I came in here the way I did. So, therefore, I've been into it heavy so that I could understand myself better, which is what I've had a chance to do, help other people understand themselves better. And it's a hobby and a career, if you ask me. But I'm very
Okay.
happy to be involved with it and, guys, to see you all this evening, of course.
Hey, that was like an amazing
Thank you.
introduction. So, can you clarify some of the information that Jamise brought up and why
Yes, which
you're just about side reel being, more important than the tropical?
As far as evolution purposes are concerned, yes, I would say it's more accurate than tropical because tropical progresses you along with the seasons, which are very inconsistent. And we've been seeing that, throughout all the years. They don't stay the same, neither are they meant to stay the same. Time changes, people change too. So just like nature progresses, we're going to do the same thing. It would be kind of crazy for us to stay stagnant in the same energy all our life if we came here to evolve in the first place.
Right.
So tropical, I say that's more important for your strong man, for the actual person. That's more important for the actual person, you know what I'm saying? The AKA dead person or what have you. It's good to, run your personal corporation under, which is, this avatar, because it's not part of it's not part of the soul. So therefore, it's like having two identities to work with, even in regard to time changing to making 12 midnight another day, that alone splits my identity up because I was born under the horizon when a
Right.
day traditionally would start at sunrise. I'm over here born under the horizon at 2:40 a.m. and they call it the next day. So my chart has been off all my life until I found out, what I'm saying, what I resonated with the most. I'm not saying I don't resonate with the tropical. I'm just saying that was a very fast progression for me just
Hmm.
having here 32 years ago. I'm
So that's
supposed,
like for novice astrologers just to get your feet wet.
yeah.
Cause I ain't gonna lie, when I was a kid, I used to always read like the Chinese calendar
Yeah,
stuff, and like my mom had those booklets.
the
So I
Chinese
used to like.
calendar is really good. They calculate the time in the womb. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mhm.
our ages are not the same. With every civilization comes a new calendar. So even with how we calculate today's astrology, whether it be tropical or sidereal, we're still missing time. With every ruler that came in, there came another calendar, and it's been like that for a while.
And
You
that's
know what I'm saying? We translate our years in thousands when it's probably hundreds when it's probably in the tens, So
Right.
the ancients, I believe and feel, and from what I have researched, I don't think they last no thousands of years. I don't think they last hundreds of years, to be honest, because that's how fast the progression is.
that's right. And what is so important is that if we just simply go and return it back to Egypt. Let me just share my screen right quick. So if we just return it back to Egypt one time. All right, I'm trying to bring up my other. Okay, boom. There we go.
Uh, if you just dropped out, you can always come back in. Just use the link. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but
All
StreamYard
right.
be playing stream games. So
So this, this was found in the temple of Hathor. Hathor is a great goddess with a wonderful story. But in this temple, as I scroll up so you can see her. So as that queen was talking just now, she just mentioned that the time in both astrology, sidereal and traditional natal chart is all. So this is the hall of Hathor. Hathor is a great goddess, and of course you can see who she is. So she's directing us to the constellations and the direction of from north to south, and everything is aligned from the temples and how the pyramids were put in place for the protection of the Earth's grid, actually. And so when we look at this, this is actually the constellation that she was talking about in the 2000 year constant. This is the other one. that she was talking about that only helps us like in a 37-year constant. So this is a fixed one here. And as I scroll down, you can see this is also the fixed one made by the religions. This is also a fixed one here. But when we come here, this is called the Dendera. This is the Egyptian Hathor. This has the seasons. This has why you plant and why you harvest. This has exactly how much days in each one of these, what they call deacons or representatives. And these representatives represent at least 10 days. And so when you go around this like this, you would end up counting your 360 days. And so as you can see, as I go in closer, I'll go in a little more here. This is your Leo, as you can see. This is your Cancer. This is your, excuse me, this is your Taurus, Pisces. And as I go down, so this here is, and I'll use a quick example. They believe that we praise sun. And so because they believe that we praise the sun, they only can look at the hearth or wall in a temple and say that that does not work for them. This cannot help us. So they looked at the Dendera and simply said, this cannot push our evolution forward. But when we look at the Dendera, it's all about good Lord Thoth did, which is the rebirth of using the sun in the pyramids. And so he can use the sun in the pyramids to do a complete rebirth. And then in comes rebirth, in comes timing. And that's where timing comes constellation. And so this is our chart, ladies and gentlemen. But it took me to take on astrology and sidereal in order to realize that. I'm going to stop sharing.
Hey, Ken Sean be coming with that knowledge, boy.
Yeah, y'all just laid out a big path of studying for me to go through.
All right.
No, that's fact.
And
That's fact.
Hathor is a great goddess. So she's directing us. And that's the respect the black women need to get back. You understand? Because the black woman, as you can see, is directing us once again.
Indeed. Indeed. So I have a question. Is there any flat earthers in here?
Earthers and globe earthers, they're both right. You put them together and you have a whole truth.
Well,
yes.
I can subscribe to the inner earth theory, even though we know that it's a fact. But I don't know if I can get with the flat earth. And the only reason why I bring it up is because I wanted to even down to the Fibonacci spiral, anything that is in divine order goes in a spiral. And like there's even to me, and you can dispute this. That's why I'm bringing it up. Actually, and to me, even the womb is in a not necessarily a circle, but kind of like an egg shape, which I think Earth is more eggish than it is a sphere because we have an axis, so it has to have some type of point of. So I'm trying to understand how the Earth could be flat and how we know that the gravitational pull of the sun is what's pulling and making us and the planet spiral in that Fibonacci. So I will let y'all take over now.
We have toroidal fields around us that move, but we don't necessarily move. Right. And everything else is a magnet, though. From what I research and understand and see, we are magnets. All the planets are magnets, and we siphon energy from each other. And like I said, we have 3 toroidal fields, and as far as like globe Earth or sphere Earth, that concept seems like it would have came in to describe the toroidal fields without describing them, which is what goes in that
Yeah.
donut shape
Yeah.
rotation there. So that's where I get it from. That's why I said they're kind of half right. You put them both together because I don't think the Earth is just flat. We have different levels to the Earth.
Right. It's concave, more like in my understanding, it's more concave, which gives you your inner Earth, but it's the toroidal field, it's the flow, the in and out flow, which is giving the concept of a globe. It's the toroidal field that's creating that.
And
But
I
it is
want to add, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is actually also the shape of our aura in our biofield as well.
right.
I want to add that. So go ahead. Yeah.
Yep, as above, so below.
So you took the words out of my mouth. You did.
Yeah, so however we experience this energy, I gotta assume the Earth is doing something like that. So,
And
you
and it's technically going in a figure 8, that infinity sign. But before we continue, and I'm gonna let Jamise finish teaching. Deezy is in the building, my boy Deezy. Okay, I knew as soon as I started talking flat Earth, somehow he's gonna be coming up.
His ears went right up.
Yeah.
I was trying to play it cool too. I was just I was like, oh, let me come in because I had to explain a little bit because like the brother Ken Shine was talking about, he was going deep, and that's what's up. It's kind of like, the Earth is stationary, and what's moving really is the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And how I kind of get at it is I kind of say like the sky and the constellations above us are moving like a ceiling fan, but kind of slow. You know what I mean? So it's like
that's right.
we got this north pole star that's Polaris, that's stationary, and we know all the stars rotate around that. And as far as with sidereal, so that's how I've heard it pronounced. I know we've been saying sidereal throughout the whole presentation, but sidereal is more accurate, I've heard, because it deals with the stars that's right above your head. And with the tropical one, it kind of reminds me of like the ones that people probably use in the tropics, because it's not necessarily where we're at right here in North America, or what we're using right here, what we have.
So
Something
you're
like that.
equating. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to throw this question in. So I'm gonna guess that everybody's seen Beyblade as a kid, or at least played with one or saw one. It's a top toy. So you're saying that the Earth is like a Beyblade where you let it rip and it's spinning in the circle, and then if you throw marbles in it, that force is going to pull the marbles along, right, into the
But
circle.
put the Beyblade upside down, and that would be the spin.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a mental picture and help the audience formulate what you're saying. Go ahead, DZ.
It's I know it's hard as hell to conceptualize. It really is. And
Well, think of Snake Way too. Snake Way on Dragon Ball Z kind of has that. Well, King. Hold on. Go ahead, bro. I'm about to bring up the picture. Go ahead.
All right, so as far as the toroidal field, with the Earth, science may call it Van Allen belt, or the magnetic field or whatever around the Earth. And to us, it's seemingly coming out of like the North Pole. So there's like this. So with the flat Earth cosmology, the North Pole would be the center of a circle. Think of it as that. You know what I mean? So coming out of that, what we'll say is Mount Meru, or what's the other, or Garden of Eden. But there's basically like a pole there at the center that's causing like the figure 8 toroidal field. And there's basically like they say like there's a portal where you can like go there, that it leads you to the outer rim, which is totally outside of what we're talking about here. But as far as like the toroidal field, yes, it is that figure 8 that you're speaking of, but it also creates like a field around the Earth as well. And I just had to throw that in there as well. It's kind of like I'm trying to figure out what it looks like. But if you know what you guys know what the figure eight thing looks like, but it's coming out of the center. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily coming out of a ball.
What's
So
important there?
y'all are saying this is us. Oh shit. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to cuss. Hold on.
Oh, you fine?
I picked the wrong. Okay. So y'all saying this is Earth pretty much.
Somewhat.
Because when you say it, that's the imagery that
If you think about the hollowness, sure, yeah, but it's just there's three almost invisible toroidal fields around it that would account for it looking like a globe, or to give the perception that there is a globe. But as far as like a physical Earth, I would say yeah, something like that.
So from a melanin perspective, we're all like just frequency, and so like we're all collaborating with one another now, but I'm actually talking to myself. You all are actually talking to yourself. So like it's like a radio channel, and I learned this. It's like a radio channel. All of us have one signal to come from, but we're all different radio channels. You're 99.9, I'm 99.8, you're 99.7, but we're all in that same wave frequency. And that's melanin, function of one.
So look up the cosmic egg. Look up the flat Earth cosmic egg. Whoever.
I will. I'm looking it up right now.
I will, brother. And remember the 36 planets, because there are 36 planets. And that's right in the Dendera, by the way. But I didn't want to go through all of them. But when we talk about the 36 planets and what we identify within them, it's the periods of life the soul reveals itself to you. And you unlock your abilities, meaning like telekinesis, psychotelekinesis, telepathy, the ability to be psychic, heal. Uh, the actually we only use like and many people did studies on this. We only use like 10% of our brain, or geniuses use a little more, but we have amino acids or junk DNA that we can unlock by using just methods of meditation or kundalini or methods of ascension.
Mm-hmm.
Reach that fifth stage of awakening, which returns right back to our ancestors, pharaoh level or Aten level, then pharaoh level or elder level in Kepra. Then you would be able to tap into these X-Men powers, or use the 40 amino acids that was unlocked away from us for years and years. And so the solar biology aspect and the 13 signs and the 36 planets, oh, those are very important, because once again, you have a set of group of people who believe that 12 could help them. If they believe that only 12 months can help them, then or 12 planets, then that's fine. But once again, as our ancestors lived, the seasons, the time we fed, the time we made it, the time we responded to our harvest, all that was right in that Dendera, all of that. So we didn't need to be, uh, like how you said, Jameis, confused about the time, looped, degrees off.
Yeah,
So
because
so let
one
me
thing.
let me throw. Go ahead, Daisy.
Yeah, one thing I like to know is like mainstream and science likes to consider time like on a linear fashion, but what we have to keep on going back to and recognize like cycle of how it's circular,
You're
linear. So
breaking
like
up. You're
Yeah,
choppy.
they disrespecting your mind. You
yeah,
might want to refresh and then come back. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for you.
y'all no carry on, and I'm gonna have to restart my phone, but carry forward.
Okay. Well, I wanted to put this into the mix, okay? Because we can talk about planetary influences and the shape of the planet and all that type of stuff. But let's throw some metaphysics and science into, the equation, which is my forte. We know that without the particles of light hitting our irises and being downloaded, right, we wouldn't be able to see. When you close your eyes, you actually are seeing the actual reality, because until you, like atoms are in constant motion until you focus on it. So nothing actually exists until you perceive it. So could it be that even our thoughts of like what a planet actually is and what this dimension is false, because nothing actually exists?
It's collective consciousness.
And everything is in the past. Even from me asking y'all to come up here to me actually saying these words and then y'all processing it, by the time y'all process it, it's already happened. So nothing, time really doesn't exist because it is just the now. There is nothing past
Right.
whatever microsecond, nanosecond you want to break shit down. Like even the thought is in the past.
It's time is perception.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That is very important. You brought that up because this is why God is famous again. She said progression horoscope. So a progression like a horoscope. That means you're being aware of where your planets will be in your month. So you can
Mhm.
take advantage of the energy or hibernate from the energy or
Mhm.
retrograde from the energy. Or you
right.
can use the energy to manifest things depending on the planets. So you need to have all the time know where your planets are for December 22nd. You need to know where the planets are. And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you need to know, so that's your progressive reading. And so continue.
Yeah, it's like no different from a solar or a lunar return. Progressions just show you where you're at that current moment, where you're supposed to have evolved to. Because again, if everything is progressing, it makes no sense for me to stay a Capricorn all my life. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I, I
I
have to
want
experience all I can. That's the point of
Mhm.
like, learning basically.
Mhm.
Mike, I would really like for you to call in when it's time after we get done with the discussion. You have two questions up here. I'm going to let them answer, but I would really like for you to call in. His first question, which made me like have to stop from laughing, he said, "So can you fall off?" I just like
No,
I like sarcasm, so I thought that was pretty
don't fall off.
No, you cannot fall off.
No.
Once again,
I just that was hilarious to me. And
well, I'll
does the
explain
now
why. I can actually explain why. As I was taught this once again, Lord Thoth and others, they were able to what they call align the pyramids in such a way, right under those stars, and
Orion's belt.
right,
Mhm.
so that affected the grid. And what the grid would do is you can look at the horizon all you want and keep going to the horizon, but all you will see is horizon.
Yeah.
They and the grid
they
stop
say
us.
Jesus walked on water because the sun hits the on
Right.
top of the water that actually walks across. So
So that's
yeah,
the
I
grid.
give credits to that.
That's actually the grid keeping the water from falling off of the earth and keeping us earth from spinning out of control, spiraling out of control. That's why the grids had to be fixed by Lord Thoth.
Mm.
So once again, that's
And if you know anything about the Atlantean calamity and things of that nature, then you could follow what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah. So he said, "Does the now cancel out the cycle?" Which cycle are you talking about? Because that is actually a conundrum or a
Mhm.
paradox that I would like to discuss. Because if truly nothing exists, then do cycles exist? Are we just accepting information that we learned from?
Our ancestors and the
Mhm.
past astrologers who are more modern than we think. Yeah.
and more mathematically inclined than us too.
Yes.
Just they
And they can
really
use
dumbed
it
us
against
down.
us as well as for us, which is why we have a lot of house systems that we
Mhm.
can
So
use.
once again, our ancestors didn't live capitalist competitive. So
Right.
I would train Felicia to take over my position. This is how our ancestors lived. We wanted you to be better than us, and so that's how I could present that. It wasn't holding nobody back, and I'm in position for 68 years, and I still don't want my retirement. No, it wasn't like that with our ancestors.
See,
Right.
my understanding, so how I kind of read and how I kind of understand it, does the now cancel out a cycle? I would say yes, because the now is, again, this is the staying balance, right? This is the scales. This is the feminine, the masculine, the all the polarities, and we want to stay in centered, right? And a
Right.
center is now. A cycle deals with repetition. You can only recognize a cycle by something that has already happened that you are once experiencing again. That
That's
is
fact.
a cycle. So I would say yes, by staying in the now, it does cancel out a cycle, because that's repetition. That is going through the past, which is exactly what a tropical timeline does, or a tropical chart, again, because it is fixed. And actually it goes how they even calculate it, goes counterclockwise versus clockwise. They say that they are currently in the age of Pisces, which that is actually incorrect, but they're saying they're in the age of Pisces going into the age of Aquarius. So that's going counterclockwise. This is why they have the saying of history repeats itself. And
Right.
cycle, because it's a constant cycle of repetition. So yeah, staying in the now does.
Well, every 24 hours, technically, history repeats itself, because if you're still doing the same shit that you did yesterday, then that is your history. So I really dig that understanding for real, for real. I always say you have 24 hours to change your life every
Yeah,
day you wake up.
you
So
do.
Mhm.
That is
literally
What
just
happens in that
that is
time?
actually the rebirth, and
one mistake or choice can decide 50 different realities that you could,
Hmm.
that you just manifested.
Right.
That's
do
right.
you know that your past life has a lot to do with what you know by the time you were 1, 2, or 3 years old? So you brought stuff here, advanced stuff, already here with you by the time you were 3 years old. So by the time you were 5 years old, you probably were already a good artist, good crafter, or a good singer. That is past life material that they could carbon, that you DNA that was already downloaded into you, that you bought from a past life, or the south node, north node,
Yes.
whatever. So and that is important into what is your when like he said, a cycle. Well, a cycle could mean that you are in a rhythm of positivity of a group of people, or it could be in that you keep elapsing on an addiction or a problem, and not bringing it to a solution, not using alchemy, which is to reverse a negative situation into a positive, and
Hmm.
you end up going through this karmic loop, what or they call the matrix, and that Stockholm syndrome and Tavistock Institute and all that programming and stuff like that. That causes you to go in a loop as well.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right. I
Does.
want to
And become
Yeah, I
aware
feel
of the
like they
loop.
did do like a time spell or something around the time that Trayvon Martin got killed. I feel like we were taken back into the 60s,
Yes, they do
honestly.
that. Yes, we have
Yeah.
repeated. Yeah, we see it today. We even witness that. You can witness the 70s today.
Yeah.
You can witness the 80s. The 90s. You can witness all. We do. We during under that timeline, we do repeat these cycles, these eras.
And think about the movies that they keep remaking. Think about the musical styles that have
Yes,
reversed back.
it
It
triggers.
makes sense. When you got the
Mhm.
Migos and Drake doing a disco song, like, come
Yes,
on, like you gotta.
Yeah.
We lit. I really feel like they put us in a
yes,
time loop,
It's a
and
they do that
condition.
we're
on purpose.
reliving the civil. We're reliving. reliving the Civil War time.
Yes.
What's it called? What's this? What was the '60s? The Civil Rights Movement.
Yes.
The clothing, the '80s clothing,
Yes.
all that stuff. It's almost like we are like in limbo of time because all of these different amalgamations of qualities of different ages or
They're
decades, whatever
collapsing
you want
on
to call
each
them.
other. It's
Huh?
like the Russian doll effect. They're
There's
collapsing
actually,
within each other.
Yes.
there's actually a way that you can get natural time back, and our ancestors left a pattern for that. It's actually in the solar biology book. The name of the solar biology book is from Dr. York. And in that book, it teaches that you can get 4 cups of water and you put each
Mhm.
from second to third to fourth. You cut a hole to the bottom of each one of them because you're trying to achieve natural procession of time other than a Gregorian calendar. So now you take water and you pour the same amount. And what you do is you wait to see how long it drops from the first to the second, the same hole size, second to the third, same hole size, and third to the fourth. And when all of the water comes up to the fourth water, however long it takes to finally fill that fourth one, that determines your 30 minutes, or that determines you're now in real time. You can now take that construct, and that is from, I forgot which ancestor, Egypt, but that is from our ancestors from Egypt.
So color people time is literally we're on the natural course of the universe, and everybody else is sped up.
mm,
They moving too fast, as usual. You know.
We're solar beings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we go by the solar clock. Cause I
Right.
swear, it don't matter how early I get ready, I'm late. Like I swear, it's like I could wake up 2 hours before, have things ready. For some reason, I'm always 2 to 5 minutes or 10 minutes late.
Right.
Johnny says that's what happens when you confuse the people. The Matrix does not know what to do. Yeah, because we are the projection of
batteries.
consciousness. So anything that we perceive is what the universe is going to answer to. Like
Yeah.
some,
That's why the masses can't get on one accord. They won't ever get on one accord because it's a lot of calendars in effect per perception right now. And
right.
people are just trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame them either. I really don't.
Well, you know that they say like, well, I don't know about y'all, but I felt like back in March, I felt like, and I probably said this to you, Blue, and a couple other people, that I feel like people are choosing their sides. Like the energies are all the positive and negative energies are going to whatever side they're meant to be on. Like you in this time of existence, you cannot be on the fence. You're going to be pulled to either positive or negative. Like and I feel like that is the what do they call it? The what did my uncle call it? Well, what's in the Bible with the judgment? That's the judgment right there. You deciding where you're going to sit in this universe, whether you're positive or negative. That's the energy that you're going to stay in, and eternally you're going to keep manifesting that. No matter whatever realities is after this, that turmoil or that happiness is where you're going to reside because you chose with your actions, with your thoughts, with your intentions, that reality.
Mm-hmm.
I think what is important here is if you watch National Geographic's The Real Blood and Gore, when you see the little weak gazelle getting eaten by the lion, that's a balance of Goddess Ma'at placed in there because Goddess Ma'at is balance. So
Natural law.
that gazelle, group of gazelle, they need the weak one to be eaten off so they can keep running
Right.
Yeah.
and they can keep living.
Right.
what I'm saying is everyone's gonna choose what they want because we have will. Because we
Mhm.
downloaded into this body. You still have the will to choose.
Hmm.
That's
Goddess
right.
mind brings the balance by allowing evil to be there with good. So regardless of what people do, Goddess Mat is gonna balance it. She's gonna balance it, and there's gonna be either there's gonna be balance, or when your heart is weighed on the scale of Libra, it's not gonna be light as a feather. So I mean, you could decide. Like someone said, "What are you gonna be doing for December 21st?" Well, you should be eating light foods, and you should not be negative towards people, or you shouldn't be thinking about what people have done to you or what someone did to you, because those energies right now impulse with the conjunction and the alignment that will energize your negativity.
Right.
So that's why I said these planets don't care if you don't know astrology. They don't care if you that's they're there to send the energy.
They're waiting
Now,
on intention to be set out.
so a person who
Right.
doesn't know their blueprint or doesn't know their natal chart or Dendera, they are out of place. And you, like Study said a half hour ago, he will come to the astrology and find out that he's been doing all these Scorpio things. Then he wouldn't have learned it before.
Hmm.
Mhm. That's right.
That's facts. I'm loving this energy exchange. I'm loving this knowledge. Spirit said, put the number on so people can call in. If y'all have questions, if y'all have disputes about what we've been talking about or anything of that nature, this is your time. I don't want to see y'all, Captain, commenting under my video with all y'all little opinions when y'all got time to call right now. 313-327-9342. This is your chance to do your dance. Okay. I need y'all to call in. 313-327-9342.
And morning always comes before distraction. So these alignments, these things don't just happen. We're eased into it. Like
Hmm.
just to prepare for this quote unquote great conjunction, everything went in retrograde this year, one after the other. And we had a chance to experience that frequency head on so
Hmm.
that we could deal with what we're dealing with now.
Right.
So,
Well,
Right.
I
these
mean,
It was
retrogrades
for
are
that
super
couldn't
review.
happen at
fast.
a better time, to be
Right.
honest.
Right, right. They ran in
Right.
retrograde. See, this year was the year of reviews, was the year of doing shadow work, was the year of doing that inner work on self and learning and knowing self. This was that whole year. So the
Whole
planets,
year, because the
right.
conjunction has been in effect the entire year. It just peaked
Right.
today. You feel
Hmm.
me? So it's been here. That's why when people got upset
Yes.
about the powers and stuff, it's like, no, this would have happened to you at the beginning of the year sometime, like, or months ago. You feel me? While we were all being tested with our loved ones dying off and things like that. Serious things we were tested with this year. It
Right,
doesn't just happen on December 21st because it's not an on and off switch. It is something that you are eased into
right,
over a span of time, because
Something
just to put
progressive.
someone in that will kill them. You feel me? You can't
right,
just
Yeah.
reduce a human to that kind of energy and they ain't been used to it the entire time. So,
right. The energy is always leading. And that's another thing, what I've been saying, even in regards to everyone's thinking that, this illusion is really delusional. This illusion that they're going into the age of Aquarius, this old happy days, utopia, heaven on earth type of feeling. But, that energy is not present. That is not the energy that we've been leading into. I mean, look at what this year has been for a lot of people. Look at where we're at right now. Did people think that December 21st was coming and they were going to wake up and everything was just going to be different? That's unrealistic. That energy is present before it actually peaks. That energy is, and even after the peak, that energy is it dissipates as you're moving on. So the energy that we're going into, the energy that's been leading this year has been what? Pandemic, sickness, and poverty, people on unemployment, people not having jobs, and so on. People dropping like flies left and right. But then everybody's, like, oh, happy days. Everything's just going to change overnight. It's completely unrealistic. So
You gotta build the utopia.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? You can't just go into it. That's something that has to happen after things really happen. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
for there
For
to be
example,
rebirth, there has to be death.
right.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yep.
Even Christ, when he died, before he could make it to heaven, before he was resurrected, he had to go to hell first, right?
Right. And
You
that's
have
what
to experience death first.
But I understand because people are begging for a light in all this darkness, which they don't understand that in darkness is
It's
all creation.
creativity.
Like we were born
Yes.
in the womb and there was no light in the womb. Okay,
they
Right.
have to
darkness
be
is
that light.
comforting.
They have to
So
radiate the light. All of us
um,
do. You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess
That's the only way it's gonna work via a collective conscious. Because see, even if Jesus Christ was a real person, that one person cannot save everything. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ, that's a consciousness to have. And when people get that together, you know what I'm saying, then they can be a force. They can radiate at that 144,000, that bright light, so that they can be the light themselves instead of having to wait for someone else to do it. You feel me? Now, those who carry a savior complex, the best they can do is be an example, and that's just live life as they're living it. And
Right.
people can attach on, maybe take some pointers and do the same. But, you know, as far as waiting for someone to save and waiting for someone to be the light, but they could be the example, you know what I'm saying? But that's not going to be your torch, is what I'm trying to say.
and
I,
Right.
you are your own savior with your decisions. Like
Right.
people gotta understand. Like one thing I learned is that like with spirituality, it forces you to have what? It forces you to have
Accountability.
you take
Mhm.
responsibility for your life. Like for instance, I focus. I'm using myself as an example. I focus my whole 2020 on building my profile, making this channel boom, making
Yes.
connections, blah 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 blah. There
Yes.
are various like a lot of other factors in my life that I neglected, and I am suffering the consequences of of that neglection myself. So I'm not going to say Satan did this or God did this or God has forsaken me or why this, why that. I'm like, okay, what decisions did I make? What things did I ignore or didn't put enough attention to? Okay, I did that. Let me 2021. This is my focus because in accomplishment you're going to have to sacrifice something, so you need to stop looking towards other beings outside of yourself
Mm-hmm.
to blame for your actions or inactions. I feel like that's the main thing, even with planets and stuff. Whatever, even though you are influenced by planet energies, you still at the end of the day have free will, and you still at the end of the day have to either suffer the reward or suffer excuse me, or suffer the consequences.
Yeah, to be honest, knowing that the planets are there, like just knowing that you can use the excuse to blame the planets shows that you already know better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're already seeing through just because you know the effect the planets have on you. Now, see, if you were just ignorant, that's a different story. Okay,
Right.
maybe you don't know nothing, but you know Venus influences you this way. You chose to go along with it, or you slept, or yeah, you slipped up. You fell short of your own grace. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Right.
Venus's fault. It's yours because you make the choice, and that's a conscious choice that you make. That's
someone
no.
someone had a question, and I thought it was one of those questions, like, well, what would we be able to do, um, I, December 21st? Like, will we have like what they're talking about? Will we be able to do things? And I had to tell them, when you're dealing with ascension, first of all, you want to be kind. You know,
Mhm.
You wanna everything is a balance. Okay, you can have righteous anger. You can be righteous and angry, and you can also be observant, and you can be passive because there's a balance in between there. There's a lukewarm in there. And so the whole thing is you want to, of course, be able to be light in terms of your diet. Because if you have dead in you, then your spiritual manifestation is going to be very stink. So you
And
know
can, can I can I add to that? Because we don't know that we actually let's be real with it. We contain every element that it exists in the universe in our
Right.
body, right?
Right.
So
right.
we like we can manifest the energies. We have to remember that in Naruto, right? Because I'm using this analogy or whatever. In Naruto, we forget that the chakra, those characters can't see the chakra. They're showing the chakra for us, so we can have a visual representation. Because you even like at the beginning of the show or manga, they tell you that certain people have such powerful chakra that you can see it, but that's not a common trait. So you have to remember if you're fiery and you slap flames, you manifest in fire. If you're standing your ground and you're fighting and they can't move you, that's earth. If you're whipping past somebody, that's air. You know what I'm saying? If you can massage somebody and that heals them, that's water. Like it's not going to be what you see on the cartoon. You have to
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'm sorry, the ancestors be taking over. I don't be speaking a lot of the times, yo. The ancestors be taking over. I'm telling you. Like,
Right.
for real though,
Well,
like you
that's
can't.
very correct. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be like you see on Avatar.
Yeah, you're not gonna just take off flying and floating and levitating and
Yeah,
yeah, I thought that when
It's gonna
Felicia
take
was
some
telling me
time.
that
and,
people were really
and
upset about
psychic
it.
ability is real, and telepathy is real,
Yeah.
and in like manifestation, that's like just think about all. If you just imagine a device in your head and you say, I want to make this, the universe is going to shift to where one day you're going to buy this component, one day you're going to buy that component, somebody's going to come in, say an idea that sparks something else. And then at the end of a month, you might have that device that you thought about in your hand.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a
Yeah,
superpower. That's magic. That's manifestation.
Yes.
That's alchemy.
That's the power. Yes.
People got to take the fantasy out of knowledge and like be realistic. I like that y'all keep saying realistic because it's like that's true. Like you got to be realistic on all of this stuff.
because to be here, I would think to even be able to live here, you got to apply a little bit of logic to everything. Because I mean, you can have too much logic, and then you can have too much creativity to where people can't read it either. So
Right.
um, the balance again, we go back to that.
Yep. There is a balance. To finish the question with the lady was asking in the when she was asking what are we gonna be doing with our powers and whatnot. And so it's probably gonna take like 1 to 5 years
Hmm?
as you ascend, as you get better with your shadow work, with your light work. Good intentions for people. Pick up things for your grandmother. Ask anyone else if they need something while you go up. While you go up, be kind. We're gonna uh, have your building blocks, and then when we come into manifestation, um, write things down. I mean, if you want to be better treating people a certain way, then write that down. You want to have a better attitude, command. We always curse it actually means curse. So you can curse yourself in a good way just as well as a bad way. Say, I will eat my dinner and get the nutrients. I command I get the nutrients out of my dinner. I command, you know what I mean? What I want, a car, a house. I command that I'm gonna get the education that I'm supposed to get out of meeting new people. And
Mhm.
you got to command stuff because if you be like, well, I think I'm gonna And I really don't think I'm gonna be. So first of all, your frequency is already in a dire zone.
Mhm.
We haven't brought up frequency tonight, but your frequency also has to be out of a 25 or lower zone, which is actually dead to you, into like at least 700 or higher for you to be on that frequency where you can manifest. So, you know, when you
You're about to have me bring up my science of sound lecture. Don't do that.
so commanding things means you're confident, means that you also know it will come in its timing. So you're commanding. I'm commanding I'm getting the nutrients out of my dinner. I'm commanding when I go to the park, I'm gonna get a good workout. I'm commanding that, that we're commanding it.
That's facts. And I on top of that, I recommend listening to solfeggio frequencies as you sleep by Neural Beats. When I tell you they actually work, they
Yes.
really do work. Like you have to it really helps in manifestation, and I've gotten a lot of insight from my dreams from listening to binaural beats.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Yeah, they work. They take away pain and everything. I love them.
Yeah, I listen to all of that. I listen to different hertz as well. Hertz,
Yes.
binaurals, and
Absolutely.
solfeggio, yeah, solfeggio, and sound baths. All of those, they are. They activate. Actually, my very first, one of my very first experiences was from listening to. I think it was, I forget which hurt it was, but I was listening to a hertz, and it was the activation was amazing when you can truly. It was a true outer body experience. Like they truly do activate you. They do
Right.
work.
Right. And I
oh,
think
I listen.
what
Oh, okay.
is
Never mind. I'm gonna shut up.
when you learn how to lower your heart rate, because your heart rate is always probably abnormal.
Uh
So
huh.
lower your heart rate. You breathe
Breathing.
5 seconds and you breathe out.
Yes.
You calmly go to bed and you calmly put on the megahertz that you're listening to. Now your heart rate is at a lower heart rate, and your frequency is just matching the binaural tones, which can cause anything from an ascension to
Mm-hmm.
remote view or psychotelekinesis. And this is when you improve every day. So we're not gonna be doing X-Men, Jean Grey stuff. We're gonna work towards that in the
Yeah.
next 20 years.
Yes.
That's
The
it.
activation within yourself.
See?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta show y'all this. I'm sorry. I can't not show this. Okay, I have to. Sorry. Okay, this is just a little, you know, piece of my science of sound lecture. It's showing the different notes and different frequencies and how they correlate with
Right,
your different chakras. You see
right,
at the root, there's 432. It's A. And I want to say this, and this is what I said in my lecture. Think about all of the rappers that be like, hey, hey, whole brick, half a brick, quarter brick, hey, root
Yeah.
chakra. That's
Hmm.
controlling your root chakra. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you understand frequencies, oh my, that's E and G. So that's your throat and crown chakra. XXX Tentacion used to always say, oh my. Or when you're saying, oh my God, throat chakra, crown chakra, higher self. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying?
right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And when it act, and even with the A, right, it does. It activates that root chakra, and immediately, what is it you want to do? That root chakra is that Mars energy.
Yep.
Is that action? It's that go. It makes you want to dance. It makes you want to move. So yeah.
And look at this. Look at the brow chakra, right? The third eye. F ah. So when you think of something, you be like, ah, okay, I understand. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's Trey Songz. Make them say
But guys,
Yeah.
that those are easy beginner way that you can in a sunbathe or a moon gaze. Those right there are examples where you can use that or e or ooh, and those can be simple hum for beginners right there, where you can activate each one of these chakras, because that's the purpose, for you to unlock them. Because if any one of these are closed, then you can't awake.
And
Is
when
it
you feel that energy shoot up your back and it stops at certain points, you know that that's where your blockages are.
exactly? And so you can practice all of these right here. A, E from the diaphragm. E. You can just play with all of these.
Oh,
Activation.
can everybody do that for a
Mind
second? Can
scales.
everybody say, and tell me if you feel that in your stomach?
Uh,
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 y'all feel that in y'all solar plexus? And y'all, come on, man. Yeah. I
Short
just
vowel
wanted to,
sounds.
I ain't gonna show nothing else, but yeah, I
Mhm.
wanted to, you know what I'm saying?
that's pretty interesting, because it's just giving you simple beginners on how to start your and
Yep.
balance chakras out.
People make fun of like monks and stuff or think it's a game, but they're really channeling energy throughout their body. Can this be possible if we don't regain control of our food source? Actually, we're really supposed like eating, and I've heard this from other people. And shout out Young Pharaoh. Um, Eating is actually the lowest form of energy consumption. We're really supposed to be performing our type of photosynthesis.
Yes.
And, you know, there are people called pescatarians who they
Yes.
literally they just know the, I'll say for lack of remember, Atlantean way of breathing. They've mastered that, the same type of breathing that we did in the womb. You know.
Right.
Okay, Mike is in the building. Shout out Mike, Larry. Welcome to the channel.
So then my
Hey,
question
how's
is,
everybody doing?
Good night. Good night.
We're doing all right.
so then my question is, so this is something also that has been on my mind lately, and I was discussing this earlier. So okay, so photogenesis, of course, is just by absorbing the light from the sun, right? And processing it as plants do, right? But
Yeah.
what if the sun is not truly a sun or our sun? You know, the sun that we see today is a white light, the same as the moon. You know, the colors that we see from the sun, you can even see it passing behind clouds. You'll see these rainbow colors coming off the sun, even during sunsets.
Right.
You know, the colors that are coming off of the sun, you get different spectrums. All the colors of the spectrum make a white light. That is not, it's the same as the moon. It's in the moon, you see moon bows. You see when the moon passes behind clouds, you also see these same colors that are coming off of the moon.
Right.
So that leads me to believe that this sun is just another moon. They both look in the same manner. So how are we supposed to do photosynthesis, or how are we supposed to get energy from the sun if this is not truly a sun?
Well, see, I personally sun gaze, and I can tell you that the more I sun gaze, the more I don't want to say fantastical my life gets, but the more codes I get downloaded, a lot of the information gets confirmed that I read actually happens in my life. The more I sun gaze, I'm
So
actually.
wouldn't that be the same as
No,
the
hold on. Let
moon?
me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm actually blind as shit, right? Like I'm supposed to have glasses, but for a good hour or two after sun gazing, I'm telling you, I can see clear as day.
So, but then wouldn't that be again? But then wouldn't that be a moon? Because isn't the moon a satellite? The moon is energetic. it pushes versus, well, no, yeah, it's energetic versus the sun is supposed to be electric, right? So
Yeah.
it operate in the same. If you're getting
Well,
downloads,
technically thermal.
moon is a satellite that sends out downloads, and you're receiving downloads from the sun, whereas the sun is supposed to absorb. So again, would that not lead, that leads me to believe that this sun is a moon. What we are looking at is a moon. It's not our sun.
But remember that we're melanated as well. So we're just as the sun rays are supposed to be absorbing energy, we absorb those photons though.
So
But
answer that in the relation of astrology. A part of the chart on the astrology is a moon side, and then a part on the astrology chart is a sun side. Now let's look at where Egypt is. It's in Africa. It's near the equator, so that's near the warm part of the planet. And then when we look at above Egypt or above Australia, that's the North Pole or Greenland, Iceland. So, or we can say that's where no sun arrives for 4 months, right? Where Santa Claus is. So, if we look at, okay, what is the purpose of the sun, or have they distorted the sun, or is the sun something else? Well, what the sun, um, what the sun really is, and what the moon really is, are energies, and you need, being a melanin being, you need at least 8 hours of sun. Now, whether you get it from just being in daytime enough, that's enough. But you need, and this is why we can explain other groups of people being in igloos and up in Antarctica for months and months on without being in the sun, which gave the other part of the chart, which is the lunar energy from the moon, because now moon is lower self or lower part of the chart. So now sun is higher self. So now when we start to talk about what does the sunlight can give, and remember now, all is God is math, balance. So you need that lunar energy as just as well as you need that solar energy. You see what I'm saying? So how it hits you, or how your melanin responds to it, will probably determine how good you feel getting more of it. But to say, is it being manipulated, or is it a moon as well? I What I have learned is, in the next 4 days the sun will have a solar return. This is the solar return that they say is Christmas Day or Christ's birth. That's actually the sun coming 1 degree closer to Earth. So the solar return,
isn't it supposed to be like 2,160 days like
no,
that? That's
the sun takes just a 1 year to go
I mean
around and have a birthday.
years, not days. Sorry.
Yeah. So the sun just takes 1 year to go around and have its own birthday. Its birthday is 4 days from now, but it's gonna come 1 degree closer to us. This is why 5, 10 summers ago it wasn't hotter like it was now. And so, and this is why also, like James mentioned half hour ago, the seasons are mixed up due to the calendar that they're giving us. We're feeling autumn in spring, according to
Mhm.
their. So, um, that's what causes it. It can cause you to think like, what's going on? The sun is not supposed to be shining now. It's supposed to be winter, and
Mhm.
now you're questioning what is light. So that's kind of, I can see where, um, I would also, be looking at, well, this isn't right, something's going on.
But we can't discount. But Kenshawn, we can't discount the fact that Earth has natural warming periods just as much as it has cooling periods. And my belief and my understanding right now is that we're just entering a warming period, which comes into why melanated beings will once again be in our rightful place because the sun is about to get too hot, and we're like an oven right now, and it's heating up, and can't nobody break that Van Allen belt. So I don't know where people think they about to go, but people are
Exactly.
either going to have to adapt to the environment or
So what
perish,
is
I guess.
happening to us?
Which
We are getting lighter. We
I
are
want to say
getting
this too, though. That's when the underground cities come into play, and the inner Earth theory becomes more prominent. But go ahead.
right, and because we're getting less dense, or we're getting lighter, meaning that the reflection, once again, that you spoke about earlier, the reflection in our eyes and our retinas that disperse the rainbow colors to the back of our that just that gives us what we see. All of this will be down. You'll be able to download information to your RNA even faster. So now, as you grow in ascension, and as you be a kind person, and as you every situation you deal with balance, and you deal with righteous and justice and virtue. Meaning, don't suppress your righteous anger. Don't be a bitch. Still protect, but don't be an evil person out here doing things for the evil reasons. You see what I'm saying? So it's balance in all of that, and this is why I mentioned the lion eating the weak gazelle, because the weak gazelle looks so weak, and oh, you feel so sorry for it.
Mike, why did you drop off? Everybody's
Uh-oh.
dropping off. What the hell?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Kenshaw, you
Okay.
speaking heat? Nah, just play.
No,
You
because
speaking heat?
so we need that balance. That's what it really comes down to, and I think as we grow, we want to grow. We want to keep growing. Even
Hmm.
we're very eager to know about what is this ascension. What does it mean for me to be lighter? Will I have X-Men powers? You have to keep growing. You have to string together great days. And you, once again, your natal chart versus your resume versus your degree, your PhD. I think you should know your natal chart before those, because one of those things is your blueprint for this life.
Right. Right. And so I do want to, because that was the purpose of me coming on here before it gets too late here for me. But I did want to track back to that and kind of explain, again, on dealing with that again, on why we are dealing with these dealing with these different timelines, or dealing with these different charts in relation to, our higher self, our soul, and then our avatar. Again, going back to the tropical, more represents, the avatar, outside influences, and then the sidereal, the sidereal, deals more with our soul, and then you have the galactic, which deals with our higher self. Um, you know, Again, the tropical only deals with just the season. So they're again, and that goes counterclockwise. So they're saying they're in Pisces going into Aquarius based on this tropical, which is almost, like I said, it's like an imaginary chart, because we said that, even nature shows us that these seasons are changing. Everything evolves. I can see now here in Georgia, the weather has been flip flop, flip flop. It's literally,
Yeah.
it's cold one day, and then the next day it's hot. We even have our cherry blossom trees are now budding and flowering now. I have grass that's growing, but we're supposed to be going into the winter season, right? So this, I can see for myself that what they're telling me the times and the seasons are, that's inaccurate, that it is changing. So, but by sidereal, again, sidereal deals with the tracking and the movement of the planets outside of just the sun and the moon. And so that deals with the real time, the actual placements that we can go and verify ourselves with the use of an app or a telescope. And that shows us that Capricorn, that Saturn and Jupiter are currently at 5 degrees within Capricorn. And the Saturn and Jupiter, what's so important about it, again, because it does happen every 20 years. And every 20 years, when they make this conjunction, Pluto is always right behind them, ushering in. And Pluto is our generational planet, right? It is the one that is in charge and controls these paradigm shifts. Every time Pluto enters into a new sign, there's always a shift. something always changes with maybe the infrastructure or how society is ran as a whole. There's always a shift every time Pluto enters into a new sign. So as of right now, again, we have Saturn and Jupiter currently in Capricorn, and they're like they make a portal, because when they sit on top of each other, it makes like a portal. This is the entrance into the next age. So we have Pluto shortly after, coming in January. It will be moving into Capricorn as well. It's going to go retrograde around in February. And then it will then go station and direct in December of 2021 in Aquarius. In Capricorn. It's going to teeter behind Capricorn and Sagittarius. So it'll go into Capricorn in January. It'll go retrograde into Sagittarius. And then it will go back direct into Capricorn in December of 2021. And it will stay there until 2040. And 2040 of November is when Saturn and Jupiter will make another conjunction in the sign of Aquarius. And then following behind that, Pluto will then in November, December, will then move into the sign of Aquarius. And the same thing again, it will go retrograde back into Capricorn. And then later on in the year, in November or December of 2041, it will then go station direct into the age of Aquarius, into the sign of Aquarius. So this is what's determining our ages on the sidereal. It's the portal between Saturn and Jupiter, and then our generational planet dealing with paradigm shifts. It will then move into that sign later on. And the last time that Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn, this is what we were talking about earlier, what I was saying, I'm not understanding how people are saying that we're going into Aquarius, because if that were so, we would have that energy already prevalent now leading into it. The last time that Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn was in the 1700s. And at that time, it was the American War of Independence. Dealing with sovereignty. So what are we dealing with now? What are we hearing now? People are dealing with want to be sovereign. We're dealing with a possible civil war. Right? The red versus the blue, the Union versus the Confederates.
Right.
Right. This is about it. Pluto and Capricorn.
And what? Don't throw away. See, balance is looking at it from another side.
Every time Kenshawn about to start teaching, they looking it up. Hey, Kenshawn, go ahead and refresh. It completely cut you out. Go ahead and refresh. I want to say this because I'm going to end it at the 2-hour mark, because I know it's getting late and I actually have to make a call. But I want to say this while he's refreshing, and I'm going to let him say what he say. Thank you to each and every one of you who's been in the comments, who's watching, who will watch. Thank my guest. You guys are so intelligent. Shout out to those who aren't in here right now. I don't know if it was a technical difficulty or what, but thank you for coming up here. This is dope. This is better than I thought it was going to be honest. Johnny says we don't eat. Bro, please call in, because you've been. I want to hear your voice. Commander, Mike, y'all need to call in. 313-327-9342. But anyways, we don't eat food. We eat the energy in food.
Right.
Excuse me. There is a such thing as pure energy. If we can tap back into living on pure energy, we will unlock our full potential, aka tell a mountain to move. Yeah, instead of breaking it apart.
Right.
I feel you. A lot of our way of living is about forcing conversion. We destroy a mountain to build a road, to use those rocks to build the road. You get what I'm saying? We destroy a mountain to make a road, and then we use that destroyed mountain to make the road.
Right.
Instead of figuring out, okay, how can we use because think about how much pressure and energy is in a mountain, because that's literally just compacted atoms squeezing against each other. If we could harness that energy and formulate a vehicle that goes around the terrain using the magnetic force, or the somehow siphon the energy that it naturally produces, we'd be set.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be straight.
Right.
I'm trying to give Kishan a little bit of time. Call 313-327-9342. Okay, that is also the number to Astro Aromatics, which is my company. I sell essential oils, different types of sages, cinnamon brooms, large and small. I got it all. I'm the plug. I am the aromatherapy plug. All right, you call my number, I get you right. We do contact or no contact delivery. It just depends on what you feel comfortable doing, and we ship. So there is no excuse why you are not using my products. Like, I'm sorry, you just don't have an excuse. You don't have an excuse. So yeah, if y'all want to support, instead of donating to me because I'm running my mouth, go ahead and buy some of my products. Like, Blue, is there anything you would like to add while we waiting on Kishan to pop back in?
I would like to touch back on something that was said earlier about the collective consciousness. Something that I noticed myself that would confirm that would be Spotify. I noticed a couple of times songs would be coming on that would be catering to the mood that I was in.
Yes.
And if you look at the emblem of Spotify, it's like a frequency module is what it looks like. And so the one instance that confirmed it was this one time I won't say I was mad, but I was having less than positive thoughts, and the types of songs that was coming on was provoking that itch that was being,
One moment, please. I'm gonna let the gentleman finish talking, and then I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Blue.
That was pretty much it.
That's amazing that you brought that up, because I've noticed that too. I noticed growing up, and even still today, I'll have a random song playing in my head out of nowhere. It may not be a song that I've heard a couple of months or for a couple of years, and it'll pop in my head, and I'll turn on the radio, and boom, the very first song was the song that was just playing in my head.
Yeah. And before I introduce, because we have a guest who called in, and I don't want to be rude to him, but I will say this: sound never dissipates; it just gets lower to where we can't hear it. So every sound that has ever been made is still, that wave is still,
every vibration that's ever been vibrated.
Exactly. We have to tap into that. Like even think about the radio, okay? We hear it only when we turn the volume up, only when we build that vibration up. But just because we turn it down, that does not mean that it no longer exists. It just means we're not perceiving it. So, okay, but caller, can you please state your name and what state you're calling from?
This the guy you asked to call in, Johnny.
Oh, what's up, Johnny? Could you state what? You don't have to say your city, but what state are you calling from?
Country boy.
All right, that's good enough. I can hear it in your voice. So what do you have to say about what we've been talking about tonight?
I just want to reiterate on one of the comments that I made about, we don't eat food. We eat the energy in the food.
All right.
I mean, because you process out the materials that you ate, and your body runs off the energy. And what's going on in the world is that we made up in three parts: a physical, a mental, and spiritual. And the attack is on all three fronts. So when you find a person who's physically, mentally, and spiritually fit all at the same time, he has the ability to tell a mountain to move, and that mountain is going to move. And I've had witness of times when I've actually made objects move just through a thought. And I'll give you a time that it happened. I was cleaning out my system because, I wanted to get this job and I ain't want no weed in my system. But one of my friends was smoking weed and I was smoking a cigarette. And I had my cigarette in an ashtray. It was an iron ashtray. And the person put their blunt next to my cigarette. And I was so adamant about not smoking, I had a thought in my mind that I didn't want that weed by my cigarette. But when I turned to look at the person, all we heard was clink. And I looked over, the blunt had jumped up out the ashtray and rolling on the floor.
Hey.
So the person that was with me, they thinking it's some type of poltergeist stuff going on. But I realized I just had the thought that I didn't want that blunt in the ashtray with my cigarette.
That's because your will was stronger than the matter.
Yeah.
So I give people an example. A lot of people don't realize that your thoughts are physical. You understand? And that's why it's all the confusion going on, is to keep people what you call scatter mind. You know what I'm saying? So if you take a magnifying glass and you go outside and you put it on the sun rays and you put it over a piece of paper, it may not do nothing. But when you bring those rays into one beam, it becomes powerful enough to burn that paper. The same thing with your brain waves. When you are able to concentrate your waves to a fine point, it becomes physically enough to move objects. So what's going on, the black folks, we are more physical, mental, and spiritual, and the attack is to always keep us unbalanced. So because if people have weapons, you can disarm them. But when you become the weapon, you can't be disarmed. So now you realize why the attack on black people is so hard, because the powers to be, they understand that they don't ever want to have to face you at your full potential. So this is why everything is going on so hard towards black people.
Can I ask you a question? And this might sound like I'm being a smartass, but I promise you I'm not. Have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
Well, me personally, I feel like, I don't want to take nothing for nobody's religion, this and that. I'm a very spiritual man. But I feel like, why go to the middleman when you go straight to God?
Okay.
Because your message may not.
Great answer. That's why I was asking you that. I'm not a Christian. But I was asking you that because you would not be able to have the mental fortitude to move that physical object if you thought that your powers came from something other than yourself. So you at a mental level, at some point you must have the understanding that God is within you and you are the temple of God. Yes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to do that. I just want to point that out.
I explain to people like this, man. They say, well, no man goes to the Father unless he goes through him. So if God is our Father and Jesus is the Son of God, right? That's like me on earth. Like if one day my brother tell me, hey man, you can't go to daddy unless you go through me, I'm gonna look at him like he crazy. So the same thing, I feel like, why I gotta go through you to go through my daddy? You understand? Maybe that's why we're not getting nowhere in this world, because everybody's going to the middleman instead of going, because it's more about Jesus than it's about God now.
Yep.
They say, God, first of all, if God is the Almighty, then he has to do the one to save him. You understand? So because, if Jesus came to pay for your sins or whatever, God still got to be the one to save you.
Right. And people need to understand that, like, for instance, angels are angels.
Right.
Angels are personified characteristics of light angles, photon angles. And each angle brings a different message, you know, when the photon hits you. So that's
And
people
this is
need
exactly what aspects are.
facts.
Astrological aspects are
Right. And these aspects are
fractals of
just
further
I will
degrees.
tell you, man.
right.
I was born this way. You know, I saw different from the day I came out, and I'm sorry everybody. You know, you have those that, you know, they might be born in the matrix, but they're not of the matrix, so to
Right.
speak. You understand? Because you're trying to get other people out of the matrix to have an understanding. You know, it's like some people, you know, the chosen. All you can say is basically some people are chosen and others are not. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've never had a slave mentality since the day I've been born. I understand that I come from a royal bloodline, and everything in this world is about blood. It's all about the bloodline, you know.
Yep.
You hear they say the blue bloods, you know, that's a bloodline. They've never been cut from their bloodline, and you know what I'm saying? And they're actually blue-blooded beings that's walking this earth. So, you know, down south is a thing where they call, you know, black people speak slang, and Caucasians speak what's called jargon. You understand?
Right.
And most people don't understand the language of when white people are speaking. So I can read between every word that they're saying. It's kind of like double talk. You know what I mean? You got to understand what they're really saying. It's like if a white person call you Bubba, you know what I mean, down south, you know what that means when they call you Bubba. So it's all about understanding language, knowing who you are, willing to stand for who you are, willing to die for who you are. Because you can't nobody, first of all, can't nobody give you freedom. You understand? Because if you give me something, you still got power over me. Can't nobody give you nothing.
Indeed.
Until you ready to take your own freedom and declare that you are free and that's all it is, you know, it's life or death, that's just what it is.
And you shouldn't be scared to die because you're not this vessel anyway. I was talking to one of my uncles and he was asking me, like, so if all this COVID stuff is true and they are going to try to make you take the vaccine, what you going to do about it? I said, I'm going to die.
I
And
respect that choice, bro.
he didn't like, he said, what? I'm like,
He
yeah.
was prepared.
And they laughed me out the room, but they don't understand that, like, literally we're not this vessel. Like, we just explained how everything is just light refracting off of, you know, our biological instruments. So technically I'm not here anyway.
What is death, though? You know, that's the problem. The misunderstanding of death is what got people afraid. You understand? If you know by leaving this vessel, you're going to something much better, would you be scared to die then? Would you be scared of death? You know, you're only trapping yourself in your own mind.
You die every night when you go to sleep.
Nothing in this world that you can get rid of. You understand?
Only the soulless one. And I'll say this too. Only the soulless would want an earthly eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live my best life when I'm asleep. When I feel like when I leave this vessel, this dimension, and I go somewhere else, I have a better time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I wake up, even though I'm grateful for this life, I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah, you can fly, you do everything. You can transport from one place to the next. You can change your avatar.
Music, from television. You know, I came up in the 70s, bro. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a different sun. It's a different sky.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different food. A different everything. You had back in the old days where the old men was from the food. See, we have not ate food. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
From the food that the old guys ate back in the day, them guys used to be able to lift up a back end of a Volkswagen by itself. You know what I mean?
All right.
It's a difference. And
it wasn't no Pop-Tarts and chips. It wasn't no Pop-Tarts and chips back then.
Man, I don't know what this is.
Because this is dead. What we call food today is dead.
Problem. And, you know, GMO is a genetically modified organism. It's not even a seed. It's an organism.
Right.
So what organism are you taking to create all this stuff that you create? You don't know what we eat.
Yep.
And even organic tags, sometimes I'll be like, I don't know. I done seen some organic, what they say, organic cotton candy grapes. Now, I don't know how the fuck that work, but
yeah.
Or they be having like
Cotton
organic
candy ain't
seedless grapes,
organic.
like.
But you know, bananas originally had seeds in them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most people don't know that. You know, if it don't have a seed, it don't have a stalk to it, it ain't right.
If it don't reproduce life, if it don't reproduce itself, then it's not organic.
So, you know,
Facts.
I don't know, brother. I'm in for the long ride. Like I said, it's been a long journey. I want to say something else too, bro. From where I'm from, back in the old days, on every other corner, we had a moms and pop store. You understand? And one thing about the devil is actually fair, because he won't take nothing from you without returning something to you in its place. Okay? So when we had a mom and pop store on every other corner, my neighborhood was doing well, bro. We, you know, nice house, cars, and you got to see your parents do business and this and that. And that's an old saying that say, the pen is mightier than the sword. So most people don't realize what that means, because today, if you tell a person, hey man, you can have a choice, this pen or this AK-47. The unwise person gonna say, give me that gun. But that gun ain't whooping us. It's that pen that's controlling this world. It's that pen that's whooping us. It's the laws that they write every day that's whooping you.
Yeah.
So when they went in and they changed the laws, okay, they changed the zoning district for business from my neighborhood to a part of the city where I live at, to where the white folks had their land. So they made it illegal for us to have business here in the hood. And they changed the new zoning district up to where they land is. And overnight, they land went from went to like $200,000, $300,000 an acre. And our land went to nothing. So in replace of the stores that we have on every other corner, now we got a church on every other corner. So
Talk to him.
Churches
the
and liquor
neighborhood
stores.
is worse off now than it was when we had business on every other corner. Then now the fact that we got churches on every other corner. But the church does the opposite of what our stores was doing for us. Our stores was bringing us prosperity. The church is taking money. And I have not seen not one of the churches build a school, a business, anything.
And that's in every hood though, bro. Like that's across the United States. I always tell people there's two things that you can find in the hood. And that's a church and a liquor store, and they might be across the street from each other. That's literally the trap. We go to the liquor store to drink and then do stupid stuff. Then we go to the church to get our sins washed away, and then we do it all over again. That's the psychological trap. That's the financial trap. But it's getting late. It's getting late. We done hit the 2 hour mark. Sir, I appreciate you calling in. Johnny, I hope you tune in again. Is there any last words you want to say before we end this tonight?
Man, I just wish everybody well, bro. And it's going to take us to come together with all this backbiting and stabbing one another in the back, man, and leave that because that's not the energy that fuel our body. That energy is for other people that makes them feel good. You know, I don't know any black people in the world that wishes to go conquer any other people. You know, we are so loving that we accept everybody. You understand? And if we can accept everybody, it comes a time when we should be able to accept each other. Now, if we can't accept each other, ain't no sense of going trying to accept everybody else.
I feel like I agree with you, but I feel like even in the black community, there's going to have to be an exodus for the spiritual, mental individuals that don't want to be a part of the system, because let's be real. It's some niggas that want to be slaves. Like they want to be. They don't want freedom. Sometimes freedom is hard. Sometimes when you don't have direction, somebody telling you what to do, you're stagnant because you don't want to make the wrong mistake. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to make the wrong move. Like some people have to be guided, and and these are descendants. Like we can't forget that we are the descendants of the captured people. So a lot of their attributes, it was a lot of COONs on the plantation. It was a lot of yes masses. It was a small group of people that fought in those wars that got us out. It wasn't everybody. And we have to remember that the descendants of those people are here too. We're always talking about how great our ancestors are, but we often forget about the ones who weren't great, the ones who sold us out, the ones who chose money over their people, the ones who just wanted masses approval. So they're going to hound and chase down the black man that's running away. Like we can't forget about that element of our people. So we're gonna have to separate from them as well.
I want to say this one last thing. Cause I believe in, the, God and whatnot and the words. And, I ask people if you had to describe God in one word, what word would that be? For me, that one word would be creator. Because without creation, there is nothing. And if we're created in the image of God, then that also makes us creators. And the problem that we're having is in the black community that we're not creating anymore. So when your purpose is to create, because there's no one more creative than us when we do decide to create. So I wish that the black communities, the young people that's coming up, there was something to develop, to learn, to bring them in, to learn how to create, take their money, equipment, whatever you got to do to actually start creating. Because when you do, you're going to become physically whole and your spirit's going to become more alive and you will find your true purpose.
Right. I'll say this because I've had a bunch of failed businesses, but I've also been, I've accomplished a lot too with other ventures. And it is a confidence booster when you see the smile on the face of your customer and they're thanking you for bringing them a product that they never knew about. It does do something to your self-esteem, to your confidence. You walk a little stronger, you talk a little louder, So I definitely understand what you're talking about, for sure.
All right. Well, I still appreciate it, man, because it does, it do me a lot of good just to be able to be around like-minded people. When you're around in a society where everybody kill, murder, AKA dumb stuff all the time, bro, it's not good for my energy. It's kind of like vampires around you. They're sucking off your energy. And just to be around more wise people that's of my kind, that understand, and, that does a lot for the spirit, bro. And I really appreciate you guys and what you're doing. I'm grateful for it, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Your energy was very welcomed, and the fact that you are part of an older generation and you put that wisdom down for us, I appreciate you. So I'm gonna end this call so we can end it, but please next time come up here and lay that wisdom on us again. I really appreciate you.
All right, thank y'all. Have a good day, bro.
All right, peace. All right, y'all. I really appreciate everybody once again who watched. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. This was amazing. This was dope. A lot of good information. A lot of stuff that y'all can rewind back and research on your own. I always say never take any of our words for, as the ultimate. You need to go look it up for yourself so you can confirm for yourself. So, Jamisi, thank you so much. we got to link up. I'm gonna text you because I'm in GA as well, and I kind of want to plan an event or something, and I think that we could do something. So be on the lookout for my DM. Blue, you my bro forever. You know what I'm saying? It's always love. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to shout out Medic Face Relates. Uh, he's been very interactive tonight. Queen to Natural, you've been very interactive tonight. I appreciate your energy. Mike Larry, you popped up, but you did not get a chance to speak. Next time, please hop in there because we get the ball rolling. Rolling Commander. Next time you come in the building, you got to come on. I want you to call in, man. I want you to call in. You always come through, but you don't ever call in. I need you to call in. Excuse me. Who else is in the building before I end this? Shout out CBX25. Shout out my boy DZ. I wish he could have stayed a little longer, but sending positive energy to you. Shout out to I Am Wisdom Faye. She was dropping knowledge when she was in here. And Latavis, I'm about to call you. Bro. Who else was in here? I want to shout out Uncle Kai was in the building. I hope he's still in the building. Shout out to you, bro. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. I'm going to leave like we always do with love and light. Peace.